Hello friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala of Geography. Today I myself, Dr. Taruna Bansal from Department of Geography, Jamia Millia Islamia, will be talking on applied geography. Now as we see, in this particular paper of geographical thought, what I have tried to do is, start from the initiation of geography as a discipline to what are the major changes which have occurred over the time and what we are studying today. So, see in this paper we have 35 topics, and one of the topic is applied geography, which is one of the recent topics which says how geography has emerged and why we say this term as applied geography. Why not geography? Why this term applied geography has come? And in many books you will see the term pure geography has also been written. So pure and applied are synonym to each other and can be used, but here I will restrict myself as applied geography. So the learned objectives of this particular module is first to know the context in which applied geography emerged and spread. As I already said, when we say that one particular paradigm or one particular change in approach has occurred, we need to know the context in which it emerged. So here too we do the same thing. We'll know the context in which applied geography has emerged and then it spread. And secondly, in many books you will see that pure and applied are written as synonymous, but there is a debate. So we'll also explore this debate as our second objective. The third is to trace the evolution of applied geography in USA. Now when we see, especially in geography as a discipline, we see its emergence and evolution has occurred in different phases in different countries. So even in the syllabus we will see the contribution of geographers in America, in Germany, in France, in India. So why that has been done is because the approaches or the framework in which geography as a discipline developed is different in each country, and it is time bound. So it is not happening that if determinism as an approach was dominant in Germany, was equally or simultaneously dominant in France or in America. It's not so. So when we study any one paradigm, such paradigm in geography, we have to study it from spatial point of view also. That means how it evolved in USA. That's what we are going to do in this module also. How applied geography evolved in USA, how applied geography evolved in Europe, then how it was in India, and then basically how the entire approach progressed and what was why was it criticized and what are its merits and limitations. So on a whole, in its what will be the basic outcome of this module will be that you start with what is applied geography, why it is different from pure geography, what was the context in which it evolved, how it evolved in different parts of the world, and then why was it criticized and what are its merits and limitations. So we start with what is applied geography. As new university departments started to offer courses in geography, a certain number of professionals became graduate during 1920s and 30s. In fact, the genesis of applied geography can be traced back to the inquisitive mind of young geographers who wanted to apply their training of geography into some issues that have practical utility. They were eager to minimize problems in society. On this front, the training seemed quite little helpful, as a field work in small areas for obtaining a formal degree had certain limitations. They were not interested to undertake theoretical studies also. In such context, since World War I to 1950s, a number of geographical works have sprouted, and this wide variety of studies in what might be called applied geography, in the sense that the purpose was to provide the basis for planning remedial action. This term applied geography was not common, as two books titled Applied Geography, a Preliminary Sketch and an Introduction to Applied Geography appeared as early as in 1890 and 1921 respectively. A.J. Herbertson in 1899 defined applied geography as a special way of looking at geography, a limitation and a specialization of the study of it from one point of view. For example, for the businessman, this can be an economic point of view. For a medical man, it can be a climatic and a demographic one, while for a missionary, it will be an ethic and an ethical point of view. as the research within this bracket of applied geography were not restricted to university curriculum and dealt with real world problems. Hart's definition seems more suitable. He defines applied geography as the synthesis of existing geographic knowledge and principles to serve the specific needs of a particular client, usually a business or a government agency. Torrey and Ratcliffe list few themes of applied research. Now, what are these themes? Market and location analysis, medical geography, land use planning, environmental issues and policies, transportation planning and routing, geography of crime, and so on. Therefore, we see that large number of disciplines, rather sub-disciplines of geography emerge. One of such, very uncommon branch which developed very recently is leisure geography. Now, what does it deal with? It deals with recreation, tourism and sport. Now, this has gained prominence in very recent times. Besides, we also see that applied applications in geomorphology and climatology has also become very popular. Now, so you get a basic idea what applied geography is. That means what the theory we have studied, it's not a theoretical work. Theories which have already studied in geography as whole have been applied or have been, their applications have been used in different areas, be it tourist geography, be it medical geography, or even in old sub branches like geomorphology and climatology. Now, what is the debate between applied or pure geography? So, as I said, although you may find people using them together or as synonyms, we need to understand what or why the debate between these two terms started. A debate that occurred in 1980s was concerned about the changing nature of pure and applied geography. This debate, like any other disciplines also, was not something uncommon. On the one hand, geography was required to give an academic or intellectual space, whereas the practical usefulness of geography in society and economy had to be proved on the other hand. Pure or traditional geography promotes theoretical understanding of relationship between human being and nature, while applied geographers borrowed these ideas to resolve socio-economic problems for a spatial perspective or for a spatial area, spatial science. While pure geography is more concerned with theories and methods, applied geography is attached with resolution of socio-economic problems. As I said, so the basic difference is, now when you say pure, that is something which has its theory, which is pure in nature, so theoretical base is very strong. But when you say applied, as the term denotes, you are applying something. So, what you are doing is you are taking up a theory and applying it on any geographical phenomena which is occurring in reality in particular spatial unit. During the age of imperialism, geography was an important tool of nationalism and imperialism. Regional synthesis and spatial analysis being two strong methodological grounds propelled geography as an academic discipline. But during the period in between two world wars, geography had to satisfy its usefulness. Otherwise, government was not ready to spend public money on it amid economic depression. Although traditional geography was very much prominent, the axis of academic orientation gradually tilted towards applied geography during 1980s. Application of techniques like remote sensing and geographical information system, commonly called remote RS and GIS, became very important. Applications of such specialized techniques actually took applied geography away from traditional geography. Payson argued that the core of applied geography lies in the issues of usefulness of geographical research and the relationship between theory and practice. Rundstrom and Kenzer felt that academic core of geography was being eroded, as students, rather than thinking critically, started working for specifically serving business firms and government agencies. Students learned about a few specific skills that are required for satisfying some clients. One has to understand at this point why such debates happened in 1980s, as the undercurrent was always there, as it has been illustrated in the following section. So, what was happening, or rather what happened in 1980s was not something which happened overnight. As we always hear this phrase which says that revolution doesn't occur overnight. So similarly, applied geography didn't emerge overnight, or the use of techniques like remote sensing and GIS was not something which suddenly came in geography. There was certain background which led to the evolution or the evolution of geography to applied geography. Now what is that? For this we need to understand first the global profile of applied geography. Professional geographers made significant contributions when USA took part in World War I and II. Some of the notable contributions are: skilled geographers helped USA administration in commodity studies. When the Division of Planning and Statistics of the USA Shipping Board was given an assignment to conduct a survey of imports in 1970, the need of prioritization and categorization was immediately felt amid shortage of ships. There were some very important items for warfare which had to be entirely imported, whereas there were items that did not have military or civilian use. Walter S. Tower, a geographer for Chicago, joined this work, as he had a sound knowledge on geography of commerce. Other geographers like Finch, Haas, Rubach, and Charles Colby took part. These scholars helped US Shipping Board a lot by summarizing long intelligence reports. As the skill and knowledge of geographers in commodity studies got widely known, another division of planning and statistics was established in the War Trade Board. Here, famous geographers, you must have heard his name, H.H. Barrows, which is known for geography as ecology. He wrote a paper on geography as human ecology. This particular geographer, he is a quite famous US geographer, was the head of this research unit. And he had a number of geographers as his members. They include J. Russell Smith, Ray Whitback, Bengston, etc. For the Paris Peace Conference, a set of collection of information was required. Because delineation of political boundary was never an easy task, to conduct this particular research work, that is, delineation of political boundary, a team was formed which had about 150 members. This team was known as the Inquiry, and it included historians, journalists, geographers, economists, and other area specialists. Their research concern was considerably wider, from international law, diplomatic and political history of Europe to geographic analysis of problem areas, which include terrestrial waters and frontier zones, physiographic setting, economic geography, and much more, rather many more. As a part of this research work, detailed maps were required. Therefore, the importance of cartography was strongly felt. Base maps at the scale of 1:1 lakh or 1:3 lakh were prepared, which showed political boundaries, urban areas, drainage system, roadways, and railways. There were also critical areas for which block diagrams were prepared. These diagrams had geological structures on one side and terrain on the surface. On the base map, a set of information like ethnic composition, population density, agriculture and mineral resource inventory, and many other such things were displayed. All these proceedings happened under the guidance of another geographer called Asa Bowman. Other geographers who had actively participated in this work were Jefferson, Bailey Wills, Shantz, Marbut, Warren Smith, etc. In the Paris Peace Conference, map became the point of discussion. The delegates of other countries continuously consulted these maps as they embarked upon the exercise of settling political boundaries in Central Europe. In fact, in this conference, it was felt that one map is worth 10,000 words. In the wake of all these events, Bowman published a book on political geography in 1921 called The New World. This discussed specific problems of particular regions with a description of local setting and historical evolution in detail. Shantz and Marbut published a monograph on vegetation and soils of Africa. Johnson worked in 1921 on military strategy and tactics in association with terrain characteristics contribute a lot to a branch called military geography. Bowman proposed to American Geographical Society in developing maps for Hispanic America at 1:1 lakh scale, and it got sanctioned also. Under this project, a number of field studies were conducted and the research reports were published. Due to this project, the Hispanic America map was completed in 1946. It contributed a lot to the millionth map of the world, constructed in conformity to international standards, and was originally proposed by Albert Penck and Platt. These maps helped to settle boundaries dispute which were occurring between countries. An example can be cited of Chile as you pronounce in 1921, Colombia and Venezuela in 1933. One of the applications of geography in the areas of land quality and land use studies was also there. Looking at the example of Michigan Land Economic Survey, which was conducted in 1922, one can trace how geographers even played a significant role in land use planning. The North Country of Michigan experienced unrestricted lumbering and therefore subsequent forest fire after long dry periods when high-speed wind blew off. A considerable number of trees as a result were destroyed and the soil was started becoming infertile. Poor quality of sandy soil and a short growing season could not support agricultural activities. In such a context, Carl Osar and William D. Jones made an initiative to explore diversified land quality characteristics of the North Country. They also got support from Lovejoy, who was a forester and naturalist by profession. As the need of a land survey was imminent, the State Department of Conservation, U.S. Department of Agriculture, University of Michigan and the Michigan Agriculture College started to operationalize this project. The objective of the survey was to create a detailed inventory of land use so that plans can be formulated. This survey was known for its contribution towards unit area method and the associated soil type. The survey began with compass and notebook as used by soil experts, foresters, and graduate students of geography from the University of Michigan. According to Showman, the results of this survey could be used for local zoning rules for the rural areas also. This survey proved the effective capability of geographers in delineating areal association and analyzing diverse processes. Continuing the legacy of this survey, Hudson contributed in making land use inventory of the Tennessee Valley. Puerto Rico Rural Land Classification Program of 1949 to 1951 also attempted to formulate economic plans after surveying and creating a detailed inventory of resources. Hudson, along with Pico and Jones, carried out similar study. Other such similar studies were carried out in Chile and Brazil. Other geographers contributed in making an inventory of scenic resources and economic base of urban systems. The development of remote sensing techniques have helped a lot in these studies. Trained and experienced geographers were working in different kinds of works. Some worked in research and analysis, wing branch of Office of Strategic Services, War Department, Intelligence Division and other offices. Compilation of detailed information in countries and regions was the primary task, which helped planning military operations. Joint Army-Navy intelligence studies, for example, brought together many background research reports. Such geographers helped the troops in analyzing terrain conditions of battlefields. One group of geographers was specialized in transport studies who focused on the conditions of transportation routes and facilities. Very few geographers were also the experts of foreign countries who could analyze the potential strength and weaknesses of those countries. Bowman also formed a team to research upon the feasibility of setting up of refugee settlements across different areas of the world. Marketing research for private business firms was another area. For these firms, location of retail outlets would be pretty important. To illustrate William Applebaum's thesis on our secondary commercial centers of Cincinnati, He helped the Roger Company in choosing the best sites for planned supermarkets. In fact, geographers' training in making and using detailed maps helped them to contribute in market research departments of different business firms. This was reflected when a famous journal, Economic Geography, published in its entire volume 37 in 1961, focusing on papers that were written on location of voluntary food chains, planned shopping centers, department stores and retail shopping centers. Therefore, marketing geography became a core theme of applied geography. Other geographical studies were also significant. Thornthwaite did a very good research work through applying his expertise of climatology and other attributes of physical environment to the dairy industry of New Jersey. Glassner acted as a consultant in United Nations Development Program, that is UNDP, for the landlocked countries of Asia. Now here I have discussed in global profile how in America applied geography developed. Now we come to Britain. As I said, we are providing you a global profile. So first we discussed America, now we come to Britain. Now in Britain, an important work titled as Land of Britain, its use and misuse was written by Stamp and it got published in 1948. This famous work focused on the relationship between human beings and nature and thereby showed the holistic approach that a geographer uniquely possesses. Following the ideas put forward by Patrick Geddes, an urban sociologist and an urban geographer, this work emphasized that field work or field surveys, systematic and objective collection of data and cartographic representation were the main pillars of the land use planning, because after you prepare maps through survey and then you analyze the land use or the land resources, the results are more effective. Stamp felt that such a study could solve problems like population pressure on land and inequalities in standard of living. Now when we come to Germany, we see the transformation of political geography into geopolitics happened due to states' particular requirements. The training and skills acquired by geographers were used to solve political territorial problems. Now in France, the role of geographers in comprehensive planning were observed mainly during 1960s and 70s. And when we come to Russia, geographers like Voykov and Dokuchev contributed a lot. While the first one recognized the ill effects of human use of land, the second one made a very systematic study on soil forming processes, soil zones and problem-oriented analysis. The State Planning Commission, Gosplan, which was set up in 1921, divided the Soviet Union into 21 economic regions. Geographers like Nikitin were given the task of making detailed studies of these regions by analyzing not only population but also resource characteristics. Russian geographers were also interested in regional development. One such example is of Kolosovsky, whose work on the planning of Great Urals and Kuznets Industrial Combine was very important contribution. In India, we could not achieve, a very, sound recognition in terms of applied geographical research. In the bracket of social sciences, economics was considered to be way ahead from other disciplines in solving socio-economic problems. But it should be noted that we had some geographers who who actually contributed significantly in developing theoretical aspects, and these were L.S. Bhatt, K.V. Sundaram, L.S. Prakasha Rao, Munis Raza, C.R. Pathak. And what they worked on was especially in the field of or the sub-branch of regional development. Now we come to the next section, which deals with the progress of applied geography. Due to all such developments, at least in USA, a growing number of departments have turned their attention towards applied geography. Geographical Review decided to add a new section of applied geography in 1976. So, what you see is that not only within the departments or within the universities, but even in journal, that means, so that people may know, people come to know that how this research, how the geography is broadening or how the approaches are changing. So, even the journals came up with new sections, and one such example, as I already cited, was of Geographical Review, which added a new section on applied research in 1976. Academics, the AAG, that is the Annals of American Geographers newsletter, and the Professional Geographer. Now, these are the other two journals which also did the same. Now, the Applied Geography newsletter and the International Journal Applied Geography started publishing paper since 1980s. So, you see the difference. See, once the geographer realized the importance of applications within the geography, the name or the phrase applied geography became so common that not only different sections and different journals came as applied geography, rather a newsletter as well as an international journal called Applied Geography came up, and this journal is still available. You can publish your papers in this journal, which is called Applied Geography. Fraser and Epstein confounded the Applied Geography conferences at Binghamton State University in New York in 1978. In this, the participants belonged to government, business firms and academia, so that they could publish their relevant papers. And since 2015, this body of geographers hosts and publishes a journal titled Papers in Applied Geography. Applied Geography therefore became one of the strongest specialty groups of Annals of American Geographer in terms of number of members. Moreover, Applied Geography became a study group and subsequently a commission in International Geographical Union in 2003. Apart from this, the practical interplay between academia and government policy mattered a lot. Geographical research studies required funds, often from government agencies. Added to this, only a small share of undergraduate students were selecting geography in USA. Therefore, an idea was mooted in ARG, that is Annals of American Geography or Association of American Geographers, that geography departments should teach applied courses so that passed out undergraduate students could be employed in planning and marketing agencies. In United Kingdom also, as a response towards economic recession, higher education policy advocated universities to impart more vocational and professional training to students and created a pressure on universities to cover institutional costs through earnings made out of research consultancy. It should be noted that capitalist setting in USA employed a number of geographers in the private sector, but in the socialist countries of Eastern Europe and the erstwhile USSR, the research works of geographers were directed by state, and it mooted the idea of solving socio-economic problems. Therefore, the volume of applied research in geography was greater in such countries as compared to capitalistic one. Therefore, what you see is that once geographers realized that applied geography as a commission or as a group came up, especially by Association of American Geographers, which is a very strong body, and it is one of that body which sees how this discipline is evolving or is this coming up. We see that large number, to provide employment to geographers, to its students, it not only opened up government agencies but provided market in the private sector also. So, what happened is not only government, that means not only the public sector, but private sector also started analyzing or started coming up with ideas that yes, geographers are of importance to us. But when we call off socialist countries, since private sector does not play important role in economy, government made initiations to provide employment. So, as a whole we see that applied geography came up as a very important approach or a very important segment in the discipline of geography. But as we all know, all the approaches, all the paradigms are time bound and are usually criticized. Similarly, applied geography also got criticisms. Now, we will look into the critical overview of applied geography. Martin in 2005 observes applied geography does not have a theoretical core nor a coherent structure. Its studies thrives upon the demands put forward by clients, and the problems of study could range anything between location of retail supermarkets and daylight saving time. Such studies are often project based and are having an ad hoc nature of employment. The knowledge and skill of geographers therefore became a commodity that has a value in market. Remote sensing and GIS, that is Geographical Information System, consultancy firms employing experts may be regarded as a relevant example. And if I cite an example of India, you know, what happened in America in 1980s and 90s has been happening in India in last 10-20 years. You see, each one of the geography department in our country, be it in college, be it in university, has a section of remote sensing or GIS. So, you know, what Martin is saying, that using techniques for application is not what geography is, because what we are doing is you do not have a theoretical base. So what is happening, we have created a huge balloon which is filled with air, right? So what is happening is this balloon is looking very pretty because, you know, it's colorful, but inside the core is with vacuum, or it's not even air, it's vacuum, it's empty because there is no theoretical base. So similarly, we have Stoddart who criticized applied geography. Now, why did he do so? He says that it deals with very trivial issues. As I said, you know, I mentioned just now, you know, market, where should be, where a shopping mall should be. So if the subject comes to a micro level study like this, then it will not be on a larger or a macro scale. So when applied geography emerged, the entire focus was on marketing. So, you know, now the relation is between the client and the geographer. It was no more an academic research. And as Stoddart says, now it just dealt with trivial issues, and the broader issue of people environment, that is man environment relationship, was forgotten. But then again, as I said, everything has two sides, every coin has two sides, a negative and a positive side. So even applied geography has some positive side. What was that? The first one is it opened a window for the geographers to interact with practitioners of other natural and social science. Although a significant chunk of geographers are engaged in collecting and synthesizing relevant spatial information, their contribution in policy making is not very prominent, and that is possibly due to small number of geographers both in the university and in the administrative structure, as well as in the political structure of most developed countries or societies. But again, here we can cite example of developing countries like India. We know we do not have any services called geographical services, although, you know, we all must know how the man and environment relationship is being studied in geography, not only in developed countries or in societies, even in countries like India, very few number of geographers are there, be it in university, be it in administration, be it in politics. So, you know, at the top layer of the society, we do not have geographers. Nonetheless, as the opportunity is still wide open, geographers can contribute in policy making in due course of time. So, you know, we should not lose heart, and we should look up into these you know, new areas which are coming up, and should make it so obvious that geographer as a scientist, as a social scientist, has a role for a longer period of time. In short, it is observed that pure and applied geography are the two sides of the same coin. While methods and theories derived from academic discussions in pure geography are put forward, they put forward a broad spatial conceptual framework, the applied geographers use tools and techniques to solve real world problems within the same framework. In that way, applied geographers are more engaged with post-analysis implementation and monitoring stage of projects which are implemented through their recommendations. Thank you.